Hello there. This is Andrew from Nintendo Southend, presenting the Nintendo Players UK podcast number 8. And this week, it's a Mental Health Week special, as it's Mental Health Week here. And we have Jen from Nintendo North Wales. Hello there, Jen.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi, I'm Jen. I did co-found Nintendo North Wales with my husband nearly 10 years ago, so Dylan is our co-host. I am also head admin for Nintendo Players UK itself since September 2020, and I am known in the wider world as the Tropic Pianist Gamer. So I know most people in this side of things probably haven't heard of me, so all that means is I'm a Tropic Ambassador. I'm a piano teacher, I'm a professional pianist who also collects video games music, by the way, and a gamer. So Nintendo North Wales and Nintendo Players UK. Mm-hmm. It's a very unique identity to have, but it's me, it's who I am, and it's my brand. So there you go, that's me.
Yeah.
I also had, so the mental health issue specifically is I had Generalised Anxiety Disorder from the age of 13, but it wasn't diagnosed until I was 27, which was 2013. Which was the year officially that Nintendo North Wales happened to have started.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly 10 years ago.
Things have come a long way since 2012, both in terms of social media and, people not so much discovering that anxiety is something that can be helped and can be talked about. Generalised Anxiety Disorder from the early teens. You see, well, we had been talking about this before the podcast. I would say you've been scared of going to the gym and how gaming has helped that.
Yeah, so today on this podcast, I'm going to talk specifically about how I got fit by video games because I was scared of the gym. So my generalised anxiety disorder, I overcame it in 2021. Which I didn't think I'd ever be able to do because it was described as having a lifelong anxiety disorder. It does include social anxiety, actually. Social anxiety was a major part of it. But to overcome it, I had to work out the root cause of it. And the root cause of the entire anxiety disorder was this extreme fear of judgment with social anxiety and perfectionism. Perfectionism comes into play a lot for Nintendo North Wales and Nintendo Players UK because I had to see everything through to the end, but it meant that I was diligent and consistent from the beginning. Now, that's a key part to self-development in general, which I later learnt in lockdown, as I did a lot of self-development myself. And with that came the want to be diligent and consistent with fitness as well. But my fitness journey started probably just after my student life, so mid-2000s. I used to be quite sporty as a kid, but it kind of dropped off when I entered year 7 and was told that I couldn't play football because I was a girl. That's what happened in the mid-90s, unfortunately, so I got put off sport altogether by the age of 12. I loved badminton, but I injured my arm in my early 20s. I've just been playing badminton on the newly released Switch Sports. I can still feel the arm strain from doing too many slams in the old days, but that's all I did for fitness. I didn't really walk far. I didn't do anything else. And then basically I had a baby, and you experience a lot of sleep deprivation when you have a baby. So that was 2017. And before that, when Wii was out, everyone played Wii Fit. I was one of them. I've still got my balance board. Wii Fit was a novelty, though. We played it for like a few months and then dropped off. The same with EA Active and all that. And basically, I didn't do any kind of exercise past about 2017-18 because I was so busy trying to find sleep wherever I could. And I was living off sugar. And I wasn't allowed caffeine because I've been diagnosed with high blood pressure roughly around the time that I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder. It was within a year of each diagnosis. I'd been surviving off sugar for so long that I ended up in hospital in September 2019 with gallbladder problems. That was the lowest part of my mental health. I'd been suffering on and off with extreme anxiety and then slightly less, and then it heightened again. It was like a big wave. 2019 was easily the lowest mental health part of my story. And I was clinically obese, and I didn't know how to save myself. And because I was so desperate to stay awake, I was teaching piano, and I was literally eating a jelly baby before every piano lesson. So that, if you're teaching quite a few students, that adds up quite quickly. But the day of fate was the day I decided to randomly eat half a chocolate orange in one go. Now, I know people who can eat a whole one in one go, but if you think of the couple of years where I'd been not binging, but eating sugar with no particular limits, it all came to a head on that day in September 2019, and I suffered what I described abdominal pain worse than childbirth, and ended up in hospital and told I had to have my gallbladder out. Having a severe anxiety disorder means I'm terrified of hospitals, and I'll admit now I'm still terrified of hospitals because I'm not 100% over my anxiety disorder, about 85-90%. But yeah, so I refused to have my gallbladder out and discharge myself. I have a track record of discharging myself from the hospital. That was just another chapter in the discharging of myself. And the thing they said on my way out was, if you change your lifestyle, you might be able to reverse the effects of it. So I took that and mulled over it for a few weeks. But of course, October 2019, as everyone knows, Ringfit Adventure came out. Being a collector of Wii Fit and EA Active, etc., over the time, I did get Wii Fit U as well. Novelty wore off. Ringfit was just the next in the line of fitness games I must collect. So I pre-ordered it without a second thought, because being host of Nintendo North Wales, as Andrew probably knows, you tend to pre-order your games so you can show them off to your community at events. That was the intention. So we did in fact have a Ring Fit Adventure tournament that month in our event, which was quite funny watching one of the tallest, oldest members doing the hip shake for the tournament. But yeah, it came out and I got into it, and I was like, it's advertised as a long-term fitness adventure on the back of the box, so I found that fascinating. And the idea of basically you killing monsters but doing exercise at the same time, I was like, that's right up my street. It sounds really obscure, but if you're a gamer, you'll probably get the context of it. And I was battling monsters and stuff, and I did adventure mode 100% by January 2020. So I was consistent. I did 30 active minutes a day, which is 60 minutes of real time. And it was when my kid was about 2.5, so he was still having afternoon naps, which were an hour long. So that was perfectly timed. But then by lockdown, he started not having a nap anymore. So it ended up him either joining in, trying to batter me while I'm trying to exercise, or dance around me, whatever he's doing. But I managed to keep going. I was consistent. And it was one of the mindset switches that it allowed me to have to start the rest of my journey to overcoming anxiety disorder. So after I finished the adventure mode in January 2020, I was doing it 5 days a week at that point and letting myself have a day off. But lockdown hit. So in the background, that's the point at which I joined Tropic, which is the network marketing company. I'd already been a piano teacher, but I was kind of scared of people. But I was starting to get a bit of body confidence back by then. And before that, I wouldn't like any photos apart from the odd group photo. And Nintendo Northwest has a blog. You may notice looking at the blog, every time I have a group photo, I'm crouched at the front. That's because I wanted to be in the photo to prove that I was part of the community, but I was afraid of what I looked like because I felt fat and horrible and no one wanted to see that. So I'd crouch down at the front to hide myself, even though I was at the front. It sounds weird, but to me it makes sense. And that's how it was until lockdown. Post-lockdown, I'm the opposite. I'm there taking selfies of my legs in the field, and, you know, we had outdoor meets to start with, but how did I get there? Well, I had to build it up gradually. So the fitness journey continued. I moved it up to 7 days a week in lockdown and basically made custom lists. I made 4 custom lists that I thought were good, but I got bored like I do with everything else. So I discovered last year Master Trainer Peter, who's a well-known YouTuber who specialises in Ring Fit Adventure and other fitness games for video games. And he had custom lists for specific purposes, so like weight loss, resistance. Those are the ones I focused on. He does others as well, and he does ones for beginners. And it was actually January this year that I did his challenge for the first time. He did a 30-day challenge in January, and I got going with Ring Fit again that point. So 2021 was actually mainly Fitness Boxing 2, which was an alternative fitness game that came out. But by then, I'd developed the habit because Ring Fit, I'd been going since October to January non-stop, and then the custom list. That was long enough to get the consistency to want to do it every day, where if I came across a day where I didn't do any exercise, I'd actually get withdrawal symptoms and want to do exercise. So that's proof that it works on the mindset as well as the actual physical things. Physically, I lost 2 stone and I lost my bingo wings because I know a lot of women, particularly, are very self-conscious about their bingo wings.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to think I'm fairly toned now comparatively to what I used to be. And I can honestly say I am the fittest and healthiest I've ever been as an adult. So that's a pretty good achievement that I can mark straight back to Ringfit Adventure.
Yeah, especially being, well, I suppose it was purely on Ringfit Adventure that you've improved yourself and...
Yeah. And I only started with Ringfit Adventure in the first place because I would not set foot in a gym.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I've never been to a gym. For those who are thinking, oh, you don't know if you've never tried, I have tried. When I was first diagnosed with Generalised Anxiety Disorder in 2013, I asked for a referral to the gym. So there was a little village gym, which was nice and cosy, and I felt a bit safer there because it was a little village gym, not a big city gym. Because I live on Anglesey, so there was a little gym on the bottom of Anglesey, which had a personal trainer that specialised in referrals. So I joined her sort of training programme, but then, of course, that's a fixed time period. So when that ended, she invited me to the circuits class, and I was the only person of a class of 15 or so that was under 60. Everybody else was 60 or over doing heart rehabilitation stuff. So it was just me in my mid to late 20s trying to keep up with the over 60s, which doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I was living like a retired person, and I was in my mid 20s. So when the circuit class didn't end, I got a full-time job. So that's what made me have to stop going, and I fell out of the pattern then. And I became more anxious over time because of stressful job situations and stuff. I actually became self-employed in 2016 because of that, but that's another story. But yeah, I tried the gym as a kid as well, like a student age, and it didn't go well. I was one of those who signed up for a month and then dropped out of it. But I felt intimidated because you found all the toned up lads going, and you just looked at them like, you're scary people.
Mm-hmm.
I could never be like that. I could never do that. And there's the sort of the personal space issues and like making sure the things were cleaned. And before lockdown, people weren't obsessed with cleaning like they are now. So everything's got to be thoroughly clean now. But before lockdown, there was still sweat dripping off equipment. People hadn't wiped it properly, and it grossed me out. So I was like, oh, I don't want to touch some other people's stuff. So video gaming at home, fitness-wise, was a perfect solution to someone who was scared of everything to do with the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, I just find it amazing that it is literally just 2 Joy-Cons and a plastic ring that can improve your fitness and, well, your living proof that it improves your life. So
yeah, so you got a resistance ring, and it you can set your difficulty, but the difficulty is mainly about repetition. So I am on difficulty 30 now, whereas when it was Ringfit's first anniversary, I actually wrote an article for Nintendo Players UK to wish Ringfit happy birthday, because that was the first progress before and after picture I could share of me losing almost 2 stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really proud of that. But the Ringfit adventure that I forgot what I was saying now. Subject. The article, it was celebrating that how much impact it could actually make. And not many people had sort of got onto it then. A lot of people had bought it and sort of dropped it, like I did with Wii Fit, and they were like, actually, maybe I should get back into it again. The same thing happened in September 2020. I was actually featured in an IGN article written by... I was interviewed by an American lady who writes for the IGN, and I was the main feature in that article. She interviewed about 10 Ringfit players, I think. And it was emphasising like how much of a change of life it can be, not just for me, but many other people as well. And I've met people via Instagram who have shared similar stories as well. So it's a great way to connect with others like-minded fitness video gamers as well.
Mm-hmm. So are you still using Ringfit now to this day?
I am, yes, but I was, because I haven't been that consistent this week, ironically. I do quite a number of different fitness things now, so I'll run down the list. So I've got Ringfit Adventure, I've got Zumba Burn It Up, Knockout Home Fitness, Fitness Boxing 2, and then in real life I've got Pilates, yoga, and hula hooping. I've got 2 hula hoops because I just recently got a weighted one because I did a traditional hula hoop and could only learn to do it clockwise. And it transpired that if you do it clockwise, you go wonky, for want of a better word. So, like, you need to learn to do it anti-clockwise. And I couldn't, so I cheated and bought a weighted hula hoop. So I do one clockwise and the other one anti-clockwise. And it seems to work now. But I've done mainly dancing this week because it was the International Dance Day on Friday, so I had to make a point of doing Zumba. And I've been networking for my book for most of the last month, so I've been doing what I can. As long as I've done some kind of exercise during the day, I don't feel like I missed out. Because I keep track on my Apple Watch for closing the rings challenges and that kind of thing, so that's kept me a lot better as well this year. And there was a challenge for April on the watch to do 2,420 minutes of exercise over the month. I had to do 140 minutes yesterday because I was a day's worth behind because I went to a castle on Wednesday to network and I was driving all day, so I missed out. But I just about got it by 11 o'clock at night. I did some Pilates to finish off because Pilates is for strength and core, because I did park run yesterday. Park run's the other thing I do. So I started doing that just before lockdown and I was walking around because it was new. I didn't really fancy couch to 5k because it's like, I know I'm fit, I just don't know, I can walk far or I can't run. So I started just doing 5k from nothing and I walked around, so I got something like 53 minutes, which is on par with walking fairly briskly. I just did it yesterday and got 36 minutes and 24 seconds, I think. So I've improved that much. But obviously there was lockdown in between. So I started again this February. And my goal for this year is to do at least 1 park run a month. So I've done 2 this month, just to make a point that I could do 2. But I mix everything up. So what happens if you play one game all the time is your body gets used to it. So the reason I got sort of bored with Ring Fit originally and got Fitness Boxing 2 next, because that was not game number 2, was I could mix it up. So I could alternate the days. Because if your body gets too used to an exercise, it's not really effective anymore. So when I had the break from Ring Fit and then came back to it, when I came back to it, it was a challenge again and it was effective again. So it's worth mixing it up if you can.
Yeah, and there are plenty of fitness games on the Nintendo eShop, which, well, you mentioned before, Zumba and Fitness Boxing. So, yeah, they're out there.
I can say I'm rubbish at boxing, but I can do it to a rhythm now. I was notoriously bad at rhythm games originally because I'm secrets of musician. I'm a string player originally rather than a pianist, so string players are notoriously bad for counting, apparently. But yes, I'm better. I'm better at keeping on beat with dancing and boxing now.
That's good. And yeah, as mentioned earlier, you got a book coming out. So
yeah. So on Sunday the 15th of May, which I believe is this coming Sunday, you can put your hands on my copy of Tales of an Anxiety Warrior. So if you've ever suffered from anxiety, or you know anyone who's suffered from anxiety, whether it's a temporary or seemingly permanent thing, this book is aimed at people to inspire and impact them and maybe help them, because it's my story of living with anxiety disorder since the age of, well, actually the first chapter of the book talks about learning what racism was at the age of 4. So at the age of 4 was when the bullying started. I was that young. But it ends with the story of how I overcame my anxiety disorder without professional help, and ends in the year of the tiger, which is this year, and I happen to be a tiger. So perfect. Because background, I'm half Chinese as well, so that's why the tigers and the racism makes sense there. So yeah, full circle as it were. And yeah, it's out Sunday, and really excited to share my story with anyone who can be helped or wants to be inspired about what's possible.
So is that on Amazon or?
Yes, it'll be on Amazon. If anyone wants to connect, my socials are at Tropic Pianist Gamer. If you just look up that, you can't go far wrong. If you look on Amazon and search Tropic Pianist Gamer, I also publish my own stationery range. So I've got notebooks, journals, and planners as well. So if you just search that on Amazon on Sunday the 15th, my book should come up as well. Fingers crossed. But if not, Tales of an Anxiety Warrior is the title.
Good. Okay, looking forward to that on Sunday. So yeah. Thank you, Jen, for coming on the podcast, and well, especially this week being Mental Health Week, and having a good story to tell us, and from being I can't know the words recovering from generalised anxiety disorder, and here you are now, author.
Yeah.
Leader of both Nintendo North Wales and the whole of the UK, effectively, and it all works out.
And how did I get there? You can find out in my book.
There we are.
The full.
So there
Thanks
we
for
are. That's good. If you want to follow Jen, you can follow at where can you follow? Yeah.
Instagram at Tropic Pianist Gamer, TikTok at Tropic Pianist Gamer, Facebook at Tropic Pianist Gamer, and my Facebook group is Jen's Musical Self-Care Den, where it has live piano music. I do take requests, so I have had a request for Final Fantasy music, but if you're wanting to hear any games music, there's your place. You can request.
Mm-hmm. And
I've got a website as well, tropicpianistgamer.co.uk.
There we are. So sneak that one in. Yeah, and as always, you can find Nintendo Players UK on pretty much everywhere now. We're on Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and just search Nintendo Players UK and you'll find us. Okay, thank you, Jen, and thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you. Bye.